Hey everyone, it's SeaMystic back here with another pick a card. Today's pick a card will be what is happening behind the scenes, or what you don't see, your blind spot. So this could be something going on in your life, or in the life of someone else, or in your subconscious. So just think of the intention, set your intention before picking your card. If you want to know about a relationship, or with or with yourself personally, just make sure to set that intention before choosing your pile. But remember that sometimes we are led to things that we're not necessarily asking for if it's something that we need to hear. So keep that in mind as well. So the energies have been crazy as hell out there. I hope everybody's doing okay and hanging in there. I am, barely. We just had a full moon and an eclipse. And we will be having another eclipse with the new moon on December 4th. All videos are timeless though, so whenever you see it is whenever you are meant to see it. At the end of the video, it will show my shuffling for each pile. I did it in the middle of the piles last time, and I didn't like that format, so I stuck it back to the end like I used to. So if you want to see me shuffle, I'll probably timestamp that at the end. And it's just to show you that the cards that come out, if there are synchronicities with the channeled messages, that it wasn't done afterward, that it wasn't channeled afterward. As you can see, we have 3 piles to choose from. 1, 2, and 3. If you need time to choose your pile, go ahead and pause. The timestamps will be in the description box below, as always. So let's go ahead and get started. Hey, for those of you who chose pile 1, let's go ahead and dive in as mermaids do. And there's a lot to dive into, so bear with me. We'll start with your channel messages. Go ahead and take a screenshot if you want. And remember, I'm going to be offering my own interpretations for some of these, but if they have personal significance to you, then of course, forget what I say and go with your gut here. So we start with the number 524, and I think I've gotten this before actually, and it's about goals, in particular spiritual goals, and new opportunities coming your way. Now it also reduces to the number 11, which is a master number that cannot be broken down in numerology. And the number 11 represents a spiritual awakening. Biblically speaking though, the number 11 refers to disorder and judgment. And next we have cause. You could be fighting for a cause, or this could be referring to cause and effect, justice or karmic justice, similar to the number 11 meaning disorder and judgment. We have vigilance, hero, evolve, crest, which refers to the highest point of a hill or a wave. So you could be at your peak or at a tipping point. And then we have eagle, which reminds us to hold our head high and to look for a higher perspective. It also reminds me of Isaiah 40, verse 31. But those who hope in the Lord shall renew their strength. They will mount up with wings as eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. And next we have trust. There's a need for trust here. Chess. You could feel like you're playing a game of chess. Jacob. So I've gotten Jake before, but I don't think I've gotten Jacob. So I wanted to look into the story of Jacob, thinking it might tie into this somehow, because I know Jacob is a figure in the Bible, but I don't know his story. Well, whenever I researched it, I recognized the story, but I didn't associate it with Jacob. The story is, and you might recognize it too, Jacob is the son of Isaac and Rebekah. He had a twin, Esau, but Jacob was sent away from Canaan, long story short, to live with his uncle, where he fell in love with Rachel. And his uncle said, "You can marry Rachel, but you have to work for me for 7 years." So Jacob did this. He worked for 7 years for his uncle. And then on the night that he was supposed to marry Rachel, he was tricked into marrying Leah. It was customary back then for the elder sibling to get married first. This is why the uncle tricked him into marrying Leah instead of Rachel. So of course he's upset. He wanted to be with Rachel. And his uncle said, well, you can marry Rachel, but you're going to have to work for me for several more years, which he did. And he was still with Leah. They still had children. But then eventually he was able to be with Rachel, and they had children as well. And collectively, those children are the 12 tribes of Israel, Judah being one of them, where Jesus is descended from. So maybe you're going through some sort of situation like this in your life. If you're in some sort of star-crossed lovers situation, my heart goes out to you. Also, though, we have to think of all the characters from each perspective. Imagine in this scenario how Leah must have felt. Okay, so we think often of Jacob, oh, it must have been so difficult for him. But what about Leah, who probably felt, I'm married to this man who doesn't even love me? And then Rachel having to see him with somebody else, and basically wait by herself for all those years. So the biblical perspective is more so of Jacob's, but just imagine, if you will, being in each of their shoes. I mean, Leah didn't ask to be put in that position. Jacob didn't ask to be put in that position. Rachel didn't ask to be put in that position. This is the sort of thing that happens when you live your life for other people or based off of really outdated, detrimental belief systems. It's like you sell your soul. Nobody's living for themselves. And then we have steer. So this could be relating to being in the driver's seat of your own life, or I guess it could be relating to cattle. Egg, you could be trying to create something, or you yourself are in sort of an incubation phase. This also reminds me of the Holy Trinity as well, though. And especially because next we have cross. So this could be relating to Jesus, or it could be referencing that you are at a crossroads. And then we have Sarah. So I wasn't initially going to look into the meaning of that name, but after reading all the things I did about Jacob and learning that his grandmother was named Sarah, I decided to add her story to this as well. So her story, probably the one she's most known for, would be that God promised her that she would have a child that she would be the mother of many nations. And she never got pregnant, though. And when she actually heard that God say that he was going to give her a child, she actually laughed. She did not believe this. So she actually did get pregnant at 90 and gave birth to Isaac, which we said was Jacob's father. So I think the moral of both of these stories, if you look at Jacob's perspective, he labored for all those years and didn't seem to be getting the reward he wanted, if we want to word it like that. His reward for all that work, in his eyes, was to get Rachel, right? And then Sarah, she wants a baby. She wants a child up until she's 90 years old. She waited all this time for something that she wanted, to be birthed, and didn't believe it would be possible, but then it did. So what links these two stories is it doesn't matter how long something seems that it's taking, it's not in vain, and God's word does not come back void. What is meant for you will not pass you by. Next we have Weasel. This spirit animal, it reminds you to trust your instincts, and it helps you to build your self-esteem, not listening to others, just listening to yourself, maneuvering situations that may be going awry. Lastly, we have Horus, and Horus is an Egyptian god. He is the son of Isis, the divine feminine, and Osiris, a divine masculine. The story with that is Osiris, the divine masculine, was killed. His parts were scattered about throughout the lands. And Isis retrieved all of them and brought him back from the dead, and they had Horus. And Horus, symbolism there, he has the head of the falcon. He's associated with, I didn't know this, but he's associated with hawks as well. The eye of Horus is a symbol that people use for protection. The divine feminine energy, the moon, which is going to represent spiritual powers and protection, but also using all of your senses, which we just talked about with Weasel. Horus himself, though, is a divine masculine energy. He is the equivalent of RS, or which that would be the Aries energy, the Mars energy. And his counterpart was Hathor. And Hathor would be the equivalent to Venus or Aphrodite. And symbolisms for her are cows, which could be where steer, the word steer that we got, that could be where that came from. Also egg, because she's a fertility goddess. So I am getting a whole lot of references here with counterpart energy. Now, this could be internal, your internal divine masculine and divine feminine energies, or this, you could be dealing with a counterpart here. So it's going to be different for each of you. Just take what resonates. So let's go ahead and move along to the tarot portion. I'm always amazed at how these things seem to go together. We mentioned divine counterpart energy, and we have the Emperor and the Empress here, which, of course, most of you are going to know that that's what that represents. With the Emperor literally representing Aries and Mars, the divine masculine energy, which was Horus. And the Empress literally representing the Aphrodite and Venus divine feminine energy, which is Hathor. And she's pregnant in this because, again, divine feminine energy, she is a fertility goddess. So with that and the steer and the egg and the number 11 reference, visualize two pillars here. This is confirmation that what I channeled was correct about the divine feminine and masculine energies here. But your overall energy here is the King of Cups in reverse. Now, we know that the King of Cups upright represents someone who is diplomatic, who is in control of their emotions. There's a lot of chaos and choppy waters going on around him, but he is unaffected. In this case, you could look at it as his boat has capsized. So you could be struggling with your divine masculine energy internally, or this could be referring to a masculine energy that you're dealing with. I'm not a fan of love readings, but if it shows up, I have to acknowledge that. So the King of Cups in reverse could be a counterpart, but it is the energy of feeling emotionally blocked off, or creatively blocked, or someone who is emotionally immature or struggling to hold things together. And then we have Stag. That's another representation of the divine masculine. And it says trust and thrive. We had trust in the channeled. Behind the stag is the symbol for karma. It's like 3 swirls. Some associated with Freya too. But what I'm getting here is the message to trust that the divine will balance out the scales. Then we have Mercury, open communication, get a weight off your chest, speak up with love, and be heard. So you could be planning on communicating something, or, someone could be planning on communicating something with you. But Mercury is also the energy of, it's very mental. So logic, overthinking, mind over heart, things like that. So I'm very mercurial myself with Virgo, Sun, and then my moon is in Libra, and my Mercury is in Libra, and they're both in the 6th house, which is Virgo. I had no chance. So I'm always in my head. So if you're an overthinker, or you're dealing with an overthinker, I understand completely. So the first section here is going to represent what's happening behind the scenes. That could be your subconscious, or that could be what's happening behind the scenes if you're dealing with like somebody else, for example. And then the second part is why it's happening, which is, I think, where we should start. And we see that someone here is either struggling with their masculine energy or a masculine energy in their environment. When this is out of balance, there's either going to be someone who is abusing their power or someone who is not taking ownership of their own power. Examples, you may be put into a situation where you're meant to lead in some way, yet you're struggling with the clarity of how to proceed forward, or you are struggling with bringing something to fruition. Perhaps there's some of you out there who are lacking the discipline and the motivation it would take. There also could be a masculine energy in your environment that is not communicating very well. Or this could be you, a need to speak up, like the Mercury card said. But also, for others of you, this is going to refer to an abuse of power that you were put in, like an injustice situation that made you feel like you failed. It put a blockage up for you. And for some of you, this is going to present as someone in your environment that you consider a soulmate or a counterpart. They're struggling to step into that role. They're not seeing the light, you could say. They're still very much in their ego. So that's a possibility for some of you. But either way, we see that someone here, this is causing a lot of pessimism, a lot of despair. There's a need to regain control of your environment and your emotions, but I do see that would be a struggle, definitely, to see the light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. And what this is doing, it is causing a block for the divine feminine energy here. So this is going to be creativity, fertility, abundance, things like that are going to be blocked. So you could be trying to start over as far as a new job, a side project, a creative passion, anything like that, anything that you want to bring into creation or that deals with the emotions, spirituality, anything like that you're trying to work on, it's causing a blockage. It's overshadowing that energy. The potential is there. The Empress is upright. It's just that I think this distorted masculine energy could be, like I said, overshadowing. So that's the why. So let's go ahead and move on to what's happening behind the scenes. So we start with the Four of Swords. This, to me, this can be an energy of anxiety, trying to find answers. But I do get sort of a spiritual vibe with this. Perhaps there's some meditation going on, some spiritual support. Someone may have needed a time to recharge, a time to rest before things continue, perhaps to get a new perspective. Because we see again the energy of the masculine in reverse. So the King of Swords in reverse, this could be either someone who is very cold, perhaps a situation where there was an abuse of power, or this could be someone who has quiet power, meaning they have a lot of potential within them. They just aren't using their voice. And I think that's going to be the case for the larger percentage of you, because we have the Strength card in reverse and the High Priestess in reverse. Both of these cards can actually represent someone who doesn't believe in themselves, or someone who's letting their external circumstances or the opinions of others get to them and not really focusing on what they need, more focused on winning approval, perhaps. There's a feeling of vulnerability here, too. Again, like something didn't come true to fruition, or an inability to see how to move forward, not seeing the ability for victory. And for some of you, this is going to present as blocked intuition, or maybe even a secret coming to light that sort of made you feel this way. But we see things quickly changing with the Six of Wands. There could not be a better card here, because this card literally talks about harnessing your gifts and abilities and succeeding, overcoming any struggles or obstacles that were in your way. This is victory, winning the battle, perhaps even getting some reward and recognition for it, like reaching a milestone. And we see that part of that is because of this Ace of Cups. This is a new opportunity from the universe. So this could be someone offering you love. This could be a pregnancy. But for most of you, I see this as connecting with source energy. So when you're in that energy, you're not going to have burnout. You're not going to be drained. And it's sort of like it ignites your soul flame. It ignites that inner power within you and sort of reminds you why you're here. But how this presents itself in your reality is going to be different for each of you, of course. And some of you may even have to go it alone. But either way, we see here with this last card that the scales will be balanced. So this is something we've been talking about from the beginning here with karma, the number 11, etc. But what's going on behind the scenes? Well, the scales are being divinely balanced. So congratulations. You should be very happy to hear that. So now we are going to move along to the final messages. So give me just a second. Not only so, but we also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, character, and character, hope. And hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured out into our hearts through the Holy Spirit who has been given to us. Mark 11:24, therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. Okay, 1 John 4:8, whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. They're also fitting. Okay. Proverbs 21:15, when justice is done, it brings joy to the righteous, but terror to the evildoers. Referencing that karmic justice again. So, that is what I have for you. If it resonated, please like, share, subscribe, comment. It does help. So, hope to see you next time. Take care, and God bless. Hey, for those of you who chose pile 2, let's go ahead and dive in as mermaids do. We'll start with your channeled messages first. Go ahead and take a screenshot of these if you want. Also, I will be offering up my own interpretations, but if they have specific personal meaning to you, just go with that, okay? First, we have pray and then remiss. Remiss, the original term was slackened or faint. Something faint in color, for example, but it's mostly known now as negligence or lacking attention or care to something. And then khaki, the original meaning of that word is dust. Grace or Gracie, King of Swords. The Queen of Swords did show up in this reading. The King of Swords, the King of Swords showed up in a different pile. So maybe you were drawn to more than one pile, or the other pile is perhaps the perspective of another person in your situation. But the King of Swords represents intelligence, logic, authority, things like that. But also can, of course, represent an air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Then pauses, so you could be going through a lot of pauses in your life. And then verse or verge, I couldn't really tell which one it was. I don't know if it's referring to some sort of Bible verse or verge, like you're on the verge of something, a breakthrough perhaps. The name's Paige, Paige, which means messenger. and Laura, which comes from the word laurel, which is a plant. And the symbolism for the laurel is the laurel wreath crown that people would wear around their heads, and it's a symbol for triumph. Next we have stuck. So yeah, that goes with pauses. A lot of you have probably hit a lot of blockages recently. Next we have senses. Perhaps your senses are heightened at this time and you can easily connect to spirit. That's just one example. And then herb. So maybe you're looking into herbal medicine. And then Freya, this is a Norse god. Where to begin? So she is the goddess of love, beauty, fertility, sex, war, and she rides a chariot pulled by two blue cats with a boar by her side, and has a cloak of falcon feathers, just to name a few things. Lastly, we have rose. The symbolism for rose, I guess, could differ depending on the color. And then I saw a star symbol, and stars have a lot of symbolism themselves. This could be referring to the star card. Who knows? So let's go ahead and move along to the tarot portion. Okay, so your overall energy is the Tower reversed. This is going to mean two things, one of two things. You could either be resisting change, or you could be trying to avert disaster, like dodging a bullet. The first set of cards on the left is going to depict what's going on behind the scenes. So this could be, depending on your situation, something external, or this could be something subconscious. The second set of cards to the right is going to depict why it's happening. So this, if we start here, this could help you determine whether or not this is your situation. And remember, if you're dealing with somebody else, like a relationship or a work situation, it could be depicting their energy, for example. So back to the overall energy. The Tower reversed. I do think it's about resisting change because of the channeled messages. We got pauses and stuck, if you recall. And next we have Mother Mary. This seems to tie in with grace, and it says, love and peace. Let go of the need to be right. Choose peace. Mother healing is possible at this time. We also have She-Wolf, Unleash the Wild Within, and Fire Guardian, Ignite Your Passions. So behind the scenes, there's this mix of the Divine Mother energy as well as fire energy. And as you'll see, this theme seems to play out with the rest of your cards as well. So why is it happening? Well, someone here is going through an awful lot, probably overwhelmed. The Queen of Swords can represent not only an air sign, someone who has a lot of mental energy, who uses their head more so than their heart, can be a bit detached or cold, but is able to discern and make good judgments. So this could be you, this could be someone you're dealing with, but it seems like there's just a lot going on and a need to prioritize one's self. There's a very big imbalance of give and take. So this person could be in a relationship with someone who is not really giving them anything, and they keep giving and giving and giving. And this could also be in a job as well. And the focus needs to be more so on what you need. This person isn't prioritizing themselves at all, it doesn't seem. And the Queen of Swords, she knows when to cut off people or situations that don't serve her. She has the red cord bracelet on. That's a symbol for cutting the cords of karma. So she's pretty adept at this, but perhaps there's a situation that's inescapable, it seems, or it seems unjust in some way. Now, this could be causing this Queen of Swords energy, which could be you, like I said. This could be causing a lot of pent-up frustration, a lot of pent-up creative energy, even if that's being hindered, which it looks like it could be. So this can cause maybe some outbursts, snapping at people, things like that. So just keep an eye out for that. If this is about a relationship, you could be dealing with, or this Queen of Swords energy could be dealing with someone who's very inconsistent, very in and out, that sort of thing, and is not giving at all to the relationship. But this, like I said, could also be about a creative passion that's not coming to fruition, or some sort of passion that you don't have time for because you give to so many other things. Now, also, there's a possibility here that this person is focusing a lot on other people's opinions and not really going inward, perhaps even not trusting their own intuition, looking at the past and all the things they've tried to do or tried to create, or all that they've given, and it's not really came to fruition. So there's a need to let go of that and to focus your energy inward and let your intuition guide you to the direction that you need to take next. Because things can't continue to keep going like they're going. It's going to lead to a depletion of energy, a burnout, perhaps even a medical problem. And the High Priestess reversed can also indicate that perhaps you're worried about gossip or people having hidden agendas, and that can lead to overthinking and paranoia. So just keep that in mind. But there is a need to go inward and focus on you. Take a break if you need to. And this is how you're going to be able to, with the Chariot card here, move forward strategically. And even your card that came out says moving forward. So yeah, that's what's going on. That's why it's happening. So let's see what's going on behind the scenes. So remember when I said that the Divine Mother energy as well as the fire energy would be playing out in the rest of your reading? Well, we see it here with all the Wands cards, with the Cups cards, fire and water, and then we have the card Magic. So in a nutshell, what's going on behind the scenes to me appears to be metaphysical alchemy, or you could call it spiritual alchemy or transmutation. It's taking perhaps chaotic or negative energy and transforming it into something else. We see here that with the Two of Wands, this person has some sort of inner spark that has ignited their passions, perhaps gave them some ideas, but they're struggling to move forward. You may be still in the planning stage, or you may be facing a couple options and not sure which path to take. There's also the energy of being either really, really tired. Perhaps you have a lot of responsibilities or obligations, or perhaps you have a lot going on, or you've just been hit with a lot of obstacles. Now, there could be an energy of defensiveness or paranoia here. Perhaps you've been dealing with people in your environment where there's conflict. This could be in personal relationships, or this could be at work, or just in general. Maybe you've been isolated a little bit, afraid to drop your guard. That's also a possibility here. There's also the energy of having to go it alone, perhaps work on something independently now. Next, here with the Ace of Cups in reverse, this is someone who is withholding their emotions, or at least suppressing them. There could be actually a lack of self-love as well. And that's what I think is going on for most of you here. Like I said, it could be your energy or someone you're dealing with, but this person really needs to concentrate on themselves, which is what we talked about earlier, and I think that's really going to help turn this situation around. It shows here that you are receiving, or this person is receiving, a lot of guided messages, and their intuition, receiving messages through that. But perhaps you're ignoring them or blocking them. or you're just confused. I think there's some shadow work going on. This could be even past life regression for some of you, just looking really deep within. If you don't believe in past lives, this is just perhaps childhood traumas, a lot of things from the past that haven't been dealt with, and need to work through that. And I think that would help with the flow, because I do see here that a lot of your anxieties and fears have already been worked, or they're being worked on. So perhaps for those of you that are trying not to face your shadow side, this is a reminder that it will help you. But for most of you, I think that you're already working through this. And that's what's going on behind the scenes, that transmutation, that taking the pain or disappointments and facing that. And what comes afterward is divine love, is the feeling of love, loving yourself and being at one and at peace. Something has been brought to the surface in order for you to see it and transmute it, so that you can move forward lighter, with more self-love, and be able to follow your passions and know which way to go. Because something was built on a faulty foundation here. Now, that could be something at work, that could be a relationship with a family member, friend, or that could be a belief system that is really outdated, that doesn't serve you at all, that needed to be addressed and dealt with, so that you can, like I said, move forward. And this time, you will be able to bring your passions into fruition. You will be able to grow. So it's not happening to hurt you. It is happening to help you, although it may seem the contrary at this moment. And remember your oracle cards. Choose love and peace, unleash the wild within, and ignite your passions. Set yourself free. For your final messages, Luke 6:41, why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? John 14:27, peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. Luke 6:48, he is like a man which built a house and digged deep and laid the foundations on a rock. And when the flood arose, the stream beat vehemently upon that house and could not shake it, for it was founded upon a rock. What are you building your foundations on? Luke 6:37, do not judge and you will not be judged. Do not condemn and you will not be condemned. Forgive and you will be forgiven. So that is what I have for you. If it resonated, please like, share, subscribe, comment. Anything like that really does help. Hope to see you next time. God bless. Hey, for those of you who chose pile 3, let's go ahead and dive in as mermaids do. We'll start with your channel messages first. It might be a good idea to take a screenshot of these for future reference. And remember, as always, these may have personal, specific meaning to you, but I will offer up my own interpretation just in case that helps. So when I started to channel for this pile, a song immediately came in, and the lyrics, the line was, spend my days locked in a haze, trying to forget you, babe. I fall back down. I gotta stay high all my life. You know, that song. So if you want to look up to the lyrics to that song, it may play into this reading somehow. Then we have bosses. You could be having some issues with your boss, or you could be showing up in some boss energy. And then we have pace or pack. I couldn't really tell which one it was. It could have even been both, because they do tend to morph a little bit in my field of vision. But pace, so that's going to be, of course, moving forward, to proceed forward at usually a slow, measured speed, I guess you could say. Craft, so this could be you crafting something, putting something together, or something, some sort of creative field that you're in. or it could be referring to some sort of spacecraft. I'm not sure. And then we have rain. So rain can symbolize purification. I'm sure there's a lot of symbolism for rain. And then cloak. So you could be under a cloak of protection, hidden, Hopefully you don't see a cloaked figure. That would be creepy. And then frontier. Perhaps you're going where no man has gone before. The meaning for frontier, think of it as a boundary. So it's the extreme limit of a place, like a border, or the extreme limit of an understanding of a particular subject. No one has crossed that boundary before. So think of it that way. Next we have the word pease, P-E-A-S-E. So I'll look this up. It's not actually in use anymore. It's an obsolete word, and it means to make peace between two things or to reconcile two things, sort of like appease, A-P-P-E-A-S. And then we have stake, S-T-A-K-E. So hopefully you're not going to be dealing with any vampires. I would hope not, but it also references to claim something like a piece of land. So another reference to land, much like frontier. Why do I get the impression that you are going to literally go where someone hasn't gone before and stake your claim to it? And this could be even in reference to ascending to higher levels of consciousness that other people around you haven't achieved yet, or that you haven't achieved yet. Something like that could be going on. And lastly, we have the word chase. This could be a person's name, a business, or, something like that. It could also be referencing some sort of runner-chaser dynamic where you're chasing someone in a relationship, someone's chasing you, something like that. So let's go ahead and move along to the tarot portion. Oh, and pack, some of you may be moving, and clock, there could be divine timing at play, or the clock is ticking. Okay, now let's move along to the tarot portion. Wow, there's a lot of repeating cards in all the piles, and actually in a lot of readings throughout YouTube, there's certain cycles that come about where everybody will receive the same cards. It's very interesting if you ever pay attention to things like that. Of course, I do, because my mind that's just how I am, very analytical, picking up on patterns. A lot of Virgo and Libra, a lot of Mercury in my chart. So anyway, I see why I channeled the song that I did, where she says she has to stay high all the time to forget about someone, and she spends her days locked in a haze. But then she says, but I fall back down. And I do see that energy here, like a coming down to earth, so to speak. Your overall energy, the Seven of Cups, upright, literally means being in a haze, the head in the clouds, the dreamy sort of energy. And then not only that, you also have Gaia here, which says, Earth connection, be mindful of the planet, come back to Earth, stay grounded. I mean, come on. And then you have Elder, and it says, move beyond ancestral patterns. Some of you may resonate with the term ancestral karma, but you could just look at it, if you don't believe in ancestral karma, you could look at it as patterns that are passed along through the family line, just by how people are raised, for example. This first section to your left is going to be what's going on behind the scenes. Again, this could be on a subconscious level, or a relationship, or a certain situation in your life. And remember, if you're dealing with other individuals, it may show up from their perspective. So just try to keep that in mind as well. And then to the right, the second part, that is why it's happening. And I think we should actually start there. That way you could gauge whether or not you chose the right pile. So why it's happening, we have someone here with a Lover's card that is perhaps faced with a choice. This could involve who you want to be as a person, who you want to be with, things that you believe in, how you even connect to people. Think of things like that, things you stand for. So with the Hanged Man in reverse, this is perhaps a stalled decision, a decision that needed to be made perhaps a long time ago, but it's either being blocked or you're just stalling or procrastinating. On the other hand, this could show someone who knows they need to take a pause, but they're just not doing that. Perhaps there's a lot of distractions, trying to distract yourself with different activities, different things, different people, in order to not make the decision. And some of you are just frustrated because there's nothing that you can do about it. Perhaps you're waiting on somebody else to make a decision or to give you a sign, and it's just not happening, and it's causing a lot of frustration with you. So take it how it resonates here, but that's the energy. How it will apply in your life is going to be different for each of you. But someone here is definitely having to make a life-changing decision, and if it's not at that magnitude, then it's at least going to affect many, many things. Like, you're going to have to work, or whoever this is talking about, is going to have to work on something new, like build a new relationship, build a new business, change their education, or start working on a certain skill set, something like that. But with the Judgment card, unlike the Justice card, this not only requires intellect and logic, it also requires a level of intervention. And I think the potential for an ascension is possible here. I think someone here has been in their head a bit too long, and it's time to start moving and perhaps start engaging in the world. Maybe you've been so in your head that you've sort of isolated yourself or not dealt with things, and you're neglecting just the everyday things in your life, either routine or just being present and trying to enjoy the moment. Maybe you haven't been. With the Ten of Swords, something quite painful has happened that perhaps caused an unexpected ending, and there's a need to, we have the Nine of Swords in reverse. This is talking about coming out of grief, regret, despair. And the Eight of Cups and Six of Wands, again, it's overcoming the pain and the disappointments so that you can move forward and you can find happiness. Our clarifiers here say exercise and physical activity, and then organize and prioritization. So yes, I do believe that whoever this energy is referring to, whether it's you or someone that you're dealing with, perhaps some of it has gotten so bad that they haven't been able to get out of bed and to even focus on self-care or prioritizing anything or any sort of physical activity, going out in nature. That's in the extreme cases here. Now, some of you, it's just going to be distracting yourself with other things and not really taking care of yourself, and perhaps having your priorities a bit skewed. So it's going to be different for each of you. But I also see here financial increase in reverse. So perhaps there was a loss of a job or some sort of income, or at least the fear of that is here. Perhaps you have ancestral karma that's related to poverty consciousness or the lack mindset, where you feel you have to work yourself to the bone and not get paid very much, for example. That could be for some of you. So what's going on behind the scenes? If you look to your left, we have confirmation here that this is indeed a karmic cycle. And remember, some of this may be ancestral for some of you. With the Three of Cups reversed and the Ace of Cups reversed, I'm seeing actually a few different scenarios that could be going on. For some, you've been working too hard, not having any time for fun or to connect with other people. For others, this is going to be referencing the need to go it alone right now because there's a disharmony in a group of people around you. In either case, it's causing this Ace of Cups in reverse. So this is a blockage of creative energy, so you could feel creatively blocked, not being able to bring things into fruition. You could be lacking self-love, self-belief, and you could have felt rejected from other people. And for a small portion of you, the Three of Cups and Ace of Cups in reverse is going to be referencing perhaps a third-party situation. Now, this Ace of Cups in reverse, as I mentioned, it could be talking about self-love, needing to focus on oneself. It also could be saying that you are trying to get in touch with your intuition about what to do in a certain situation. But some of you are just altogether repressing your emotions. Now, remember, this could be someone that you're dealing with. So especially if this is about relationships or involves anybody else and what's going on behind the scenes, this could be their energy. But like I said, this could be your subconscious energy. With the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, this is about self-discipline in order to achieve your goals, which reminds me of the cards that you received: exercise and physical activity, and organization, or organize and prioritization. So there's definitely a link there with that. And again, here I see there's a possibility that there's a lack mindset going on, like you don't feel like you have enough financially. And this could also be internal as well, feeling like something is missing. Some of you could be spending money on trivial things, or the opposite. You may feel like you don't deserve certain things. You don't deserve to spend money on yourself. With the Five of Pentacles being in reversed, this indicates that there is a chance to turn things around. Perhaps you have to look at it in a different way, though. And with the World card and the Emperor together in reverse, this shows a need for completion of a cycle or closure in reference to this distorted masculine energy here with the Emperor in reverse. So some of you could have been put into situations where there was an abuse of power. We did get the word bosses, so maybe some of you have had some horrible bosses. This could also be something to do with a father figure, childhood wounds that needs to be, there needs to be closure or a letting go of that. However, both of these energies can show that there's a need to finish some sort of goal or project, but perhaps you're lacking the discipline, and we had talked about that previously. So that's what the energy is. How it's going to manifest in your life is going to be different for each of you, but it's all leading to this Hermit card, which is where it was meant to lead. There's a lot of major arcana here. So whether this was you or someone you're dealing with, this was a very significant cycle. But what it's showing this person is that all the answers that they need are within them. So it's not looking at the external anymore. It's shining the light inward and letting the soul guide you forward. And this could be not all in one, fell swoop. This could be for each step, day by day, a certain pace. So perhaps there is some impatience here, but with clock, the time is not running out. It's all happening how it's supposed to. Just give yourself time if that's the case. Don't think about timing as a hindrance, because divine timing. This is a reevaluation. So this person's priorities could change, their beliefs could change, their direction could change entirely. Not only that, they have the potential here to ascend spiritually. Now, this could come in the form of them looking internal, but this could also be a mentor that's helping them do this. So just keep that in mind as well. However, I think that a lot of spiritual teachers have gone through many trials, many pains, many heartbreaks in their life. So perhaps that's what is happening to this person. It's helping them on their spiritual path so that they themselves can help others and be the mentor. Wow, that was intense. So let's go ahead and get some final messages for you. Isaiah 41:10, so do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. James 1, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. How can you say to your brother, Brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when you yourself fail to see the plank in your own eye? You hypocrite, first take the plank out of your eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. So another message about not judging and forgiveness. Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. So that is what I have for you. If it resonated, please like, share, subscribe, comment. Anything like that really does help. I do hope to see you next time. Take care and God bless.